Hi everybody, welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Let's go ahead and get right into the crafting.
DIY number 1. For this project, I am going to be using a tumbling tower block. I'm after one of those chocolate brown ones, and then I have these grapevine hearts that I picked up from the Dollar Tree and didn't have a chance to use for Valentine's Day. So I'm taking out 3 of the hearts, and I noticed that some of them have a copper wire going through them and some of them had silver, and I was after the copper, so I swapped one of those out. And then I'm just trimming off some of the little edges because they weren't quite going together the way that I wanted them to. And then it was all set. This is so quick and easy, you guys. Placing my tumbling tower block for my little stem and just using a lot, very generous amount of hot glue. So making sure that it's positioned the way I want it, and then I set it aside to cool. Once it was cool, it was really very secure. I was really happy with it. So now I'm going to come in with this jute, it's not jute, it's like a twine, but it's from burlapfabric.com. My friends there sent this to me, and it's really pretty. It's got a light green running through it with a regular twine color. And so I just put a little bit of hot glue at the base there to secure it, and I'm going to wrap it around my stem, and then I'm also going to wrap it around the area where the hot glue is holding everything together. I wanted to cover it up, but then also help this look a little bit more rustic and give it a little hint of green for spring and St. Patrick's Day. So this was the way that I chose to do that, and you can do it. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I just wrapped it until it was the way that I wanted it to look. I went around each of the hearts, made sure that it was also helping to secure all of my little parts together. Then I came down to the end, secured it with a little bit more hot glue. I trimmed that off, flipped it over on itself. Hope you can see that, to just kind of hide the end there. And that was really it. Such a quick and easy project, but I love this little clover. So then I decided I did want to add a cute little bow. So just a regular tire shoelace bow. Decided where I wanted to position it. Finally decided on the top. Some more hot glue, just a dab to secure that. But let me know what you think of this little project.
So if you're returning, thank you so much for your continued support. I appreciate you so much. And if you're new, my name is Corie, and this is Crafted by Corie. On my channel, I love doing all different kinds of DIYs, usually a lot of Dollar Tree, some trash to treasure, some thrift flips, but generally wonderful high-end decor on a budget. So really excited that you're here. Today's video is extra exciting to me because I am kicking off my minis challenge. This is a monthly challenge, and it's an open invite playlist. So that means anybody who wants to submit a video and include it on the playlist is welcome to do that. The only rules are that they have to be doing minis, so you'll be able to go through and watch the full playlist after you're done with my video and see all of the great inspiration for spring and St. Patrick's Day if you're looking to decorate your tiered trays, or if you just love minis in general.
So as I mentioned, this is a monthly challenge. So our next challenge will be in March, on March 19th, and it's going to be spring and Easter. And here are all of the rules for anyone who wants to participate.
So let's go ahead and get right back into it.
DIY number 2. For this project, I am using a mini little broom that I got from the Dollar Tree, as well as some really pretty Dollar Tree picks. And this little broom was scented with cinnamon. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, this will be perfect for my minis. So I don't know if you saw one of my videos in the fall where I did a door hanger, but I can link that video in my description box for you if you're interested in seeing a full-sized version of this. But I came in, you all know I love to cut apart all of my picks. So I cut my picks down to individual pieces, and then I tucked them into the little broom handle, or broom, whatever you want to call this. So I'm actually not securing anything right now. I'm just tucking everything in. I do want to come back in and will come back in with hot glue, but right now I like to lay out my pieces first to see how I like them in position before I commit. So now I'm coming in with a pick from Walmart actually, and I pulled off all of the little pieces. I think this is baby's breath, but I couldn't swear to it. But decided those little stems were a little bit too long as they were, so I did go ahead and trim those off. And then I was just tucking in the little pretty white flowers here and there throughout my little arrangement, if you will. Just making sure that it was pretty to my eye. And you can use any kind of flowers for this, right? I just liked these little tiny blossoms because I was doing a mini project here. So coming back in with my hot glue, and I'm going to secure everything, making sure that everything is where it needs to be or where I want it to be, and then just making sure that everything is tucked away and secured with the hot glue. I even came in a little bit on the back and made sure that everything was secure because some of those little pieces did stick through to the back. So now I'm coming in with some Dollar Tree ribbon. I have two ribbons. One is a lace ribbon. Actually, they're both lace ribbons, but one is more of like a crocheted lace ribbon, and then the other is what you would think of as a regular lace ribbon in a pretty lavender color. And I was just wrapping it around my fingers a couple of times because I'm just planning on doing a simple bow. I was struggling with getting it to look the way I wanted it to. So I had wrapped it up around a few times, and I was thinking I wanted the ribbons layered like this, but then I just wasn't really liking the way that it was looking. It wasn't what I had pictured in my head. So I finally pulled them apart and did them separately, and I'm just wrapping them in loops that are kind of at an angle to each other, right? So just looping it around but staggering them. And I did that with both pieces, and then I'm just going to layer them on top of each other. And this is what made me happy. So then I took another piece of the crocheted ribbon and just wrapped that around the center of my bow, tied that off with just a simple knot. And then I went ahead and secured the bow to the top of my piece. And then you have a little mini door hanger, just a cute little piece to decorate your tray, or a small area of your wall if you prefer. So today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. If you're not already familiar with it, Skillshare is an online learning community where you can find thousands of classes on any topic you can think of, like illustration, video, freelancing, design, photography, and the list goes on and on. Their classes are available for every skill level and include a combination of video lessons and a class project. I love the online format because I'm able to take the classes on my schedule and learn at my own pace. Most of the classes are less than 60 minutes, and they're broken down into shorter lessons, which makes it even more convenient. As part of the sponsorship, Skillshare has provided me with a free trial, and I've been taking advantage of classes on Canva, blogging, and graphic design. If there's something you'd love to learn, I encourage you to check it out because the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your own creativity. And if you love it, it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. DIY number 3. So for this, I have my Rust-Oleum Metallic Gold paint. I also have my Waverly chalk paint in Fern and Moss. And this is a pack of wooden beads that I had gotten on Amazon. The link is available in my Amazon store, which you can find in my description box. And I pulled out 3 different sizes of beads, and I am just arranging them in the pattern that I think I want to use. Now I threaded them all onto some skewers, and I'm using a box to just use my spray paint, just really lightly spurting it, if you will, to make sure that I'm covering the beads, and I was loving this gold spray paint. At first I thought maybe it was going to be a little bit too gaudy, but it was actually gorgeous. So highly recommend that one. Now I am coming in and using the fern on some of my mid-sized beads, and then I used the moss on the smallest beads. I actually divided my smallest beads into 2 groups and left half of them natural. So here are all my painted beads. Once they were done drying, I went ahead and pulled them all off of the skewers and pulled them off of the skewers. And now I'm coming in with some baker's twine that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree. This is like 50, I can't remember if it was 50, I think it was 500 feet. I can't remember I think it was 500 feet. So a really good amount of baker's twine for $1. But it was a really pretty spring green color. And I went ahead and threaded it onto a large needle. I guess this is maybe an embroidery needle. I'm not certain. But going ahead and stringing on my beads in the pattern that I wanted to create. Now you can do whatever you want with this. You can make your own pattern with your whatever size beads you want. You can make them all the same size. You can use different sizes. You could use, you know, just 2 colors, 1 color. The sky's the limit. So whatever your imagination wants to take you, wherever your imagination. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. This is all up to your imagination. Let's put it that way. So once I had all of the beads threaded, I went ahead and tied them off on either end, just with a little simple knot to make sure that they wouldn't go anywhere. And then I decided I was going to create some tassels. So I am going to link Anika from Craft, Eat, and Repeat, her channel. She has a video where she shows how to make these tassels. This is where I learned how to do this particular type. I've never made a tassel before, but I saw her video and I thought this was ingenious because it just, I don't know, it's simple. Maybe it's the simple things that just make me happy. I don't know. But basically I had wrapped it around my hand about 30 times. I tied it off really tightly at the top, and then you saw me cut the strands in the middle. This is where Anika's trick comes in. So I'm taking a new strand, and you can see the tail up at the top. I'm creating a loop at the bottom. So you have a tail, it's hard to see, but there's a tail up at the top right there, the loop at the bottom under my thumb, and I'm wrapping the baker's twine around that. And you can wrap this however many times you want, depending on how you want the top of your tassel to look. I think I wrapped it around about 8 times. Once I had that all wrapped around, and I'm doing this in regular speed so you guys can see this, I clipped that off. Now that end that I just clipped, that I'd been wrapping, that's the end I'm going to take and tuck through my loop. And then I'm going to hold down that little end, and then I'm going to pull the original tail that is attached to the loop and pull that through. And what that does is it hides your knot underneath everything you just wrapped, so you won't see a knot on the top surface. I thought that was genius. So thank you, Anika. So you can find a link to her video in my description box. So I'm going to do it again just to show you once more in case you want to see that again. So tied it off at the top, clipping the bottom, and then coming in with a new piece of the baker's twine. You can see my tail at the top, looping that down at the bottom, maybe. Once I've got my loop where I want it, I go ahead, maybe, and I'm going to wrap this around again. Yeah, see, we all struggle sometimes. All right, so wrapping. And once I have that wrapped again about 8 times, again, you can just wrap it however many times you want to get the look that you're going for. So I wrapped it around a bunch of times and then trimmed that off. Took that end that I was wrapping, tucked it through my loop, just pulled that through, held on to that, and then I found my tail from the original loop that I created and pulled it tight. And then you can just trim off really just the top end. The bottom end really gets melded in with the rest of the tassel. And I'm just giving them a little bit of a haircut, making sure that everything is nice and even and that my tassels are the same size. And then I took my little needle again and I threaded on one of the ends of my tassel and used my needle to go in between those two threads that were through the beads, just so that I could attach it properly to the end. And then I tied off a cute little bow with all of the little ends that were kind of hanging out there from having put my garland together. You could certainly trim all of that off. I just decided I wanted to create little bows because I thought it was cute. I am loving this. Let me know what you think. DIY number 4. For this project, I am using a little clay pot that I had already painted white for a different project. I've also got a foam ball from the Dollar Tree that I am Mod Podging for the moment. I also have some garden moss that I'm now trying to apply. It wasn't happening with the Mod Podge, you guys. I tried cutting it up, as you can see, and rolling it around. It just didn't want to stick with the Mod Podge. I was afraid to use the hot glue at first because I thought I was just going to melt the foam ball, but ultimately, as you see, that's what I ended up doing, and that worked actually really well. So recommend the hot glue. Just I would use it sparingly at first because it will, if it's too hot, melt that foam ball. I did end up giving it a little bit of a haircut and got it on my little skewer, trimmed that down to be the height that I wanted. And then I'm coming in with some pip berries that I believe I got these from Michael's. I couldn't swear to it. I'm pretty sure it was Michael's that I got them from back last fall. And I'm just wrapping my little piece around and tucking that in at the top. And then I decided I wanted some of my pip berries to have a little bit of color. So I'm using one of my ARTEZA paint markers to come in and just paint one of them purple. Or not one of them, but a few of them here and there. Using some more moss in the base of my little pot so that it covers up the foam that I had down inside of there. And then I decided my pot was just too plain and white, so I was so excited that I had found these rub-on transfers at the Dollar Tree, so I'm cutting out just a few of these to decorate my little white pot. So I'm just placing them and rubbing them on, and then I just went around the pot and placed them where it made me happy. You can do just one, you can go all the way around the pot, whatever makes your heart happy. But I love this cute little piece. Let me know what you think. And now it's time for a shout out timeout. So creative, Carmen. Carmen used paper mache and a balloon to create her egg. This is gorgeous. And great job, Crystal. So many cute projects. Thank you for sharing. I'd love to give you a shout out. If there's something you would like to share with all of us, please email me at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 5. So for this project, I have a little book from the Dollar Tree, as well as a scarf that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I'm using my Home Decor White Adirondack chalk paint. I'm going to give this 2 coats because I just wanted to make sure that that image was completely hidden because the scarf is relatively sheer. I am going to measure off my scarf in a way that will cover up my book. Now you can totally use scrapbook paper or something else for this. It does not have to be the scarf. I just thought that this would look super cute. So I'm cutting off that end tassel. I'm going to save that and use that a little bit later for this. So trimming down all of the fabric so that I've got just enough for what I need to do here. And then coming in with my Mod Podge. I'm starting at that base edge, and my thought is I'm going to come in and apply the scarf actually upside down because I'm going to flip it over the top to create like a clean edge, if you will. But then I was noticing that I was able to tuck it in right between the layers of this little book. So it actually ended up being a lot easier than I had anticipated. So I worked my way around the little book and made sure that everything was covered and taut. And as I went, I gave it a coat of Mod Podge on the exterior as well. And here you can see with my little paintbrush and my Mod Podge, I'm able to just tuck that right into that little gap in the book. So it worked out great. And then I just wrapped it around the lid, and I'm not worried about how this looks right now because we are going to be covering that up in just a minute. So just like I was wrapping a gift, just folded all of that down. So now I'm coming in with my ARTEZA felt, and I was trying to decide between the colors there, and I finally settled on the darker forest green. And I am going to go ahead and flip it over and trace the box. Now I did offset the box a little bit because I wanted to make sure that this piece is a little bit smaller than the inside lid. So just checking my sizing there, worked out great. This is self-adhesive, so pulling off the backing, and then I'm just going to apply it right to the interior of my lid. So it's nice and finished looking. So cute. So now I am just back with that little tassel. I trimmed off all of the excess fabric, so I just had the little edge that was sewn, and I'm using that as my bookmark. And then I decided our book needed to have a title, so Forever Gold, A Leprechaun's Guide. And I was struggling with getting this to stick to the fabric, you guys. It was tough. So if you do use scrapbook paper, you will not have a problem with this. If you choose to use fabric, just be prepared to struggle with it a little bit. Eventually, I did get it all set and down. The transfer tape I had used was probably a little bit smaller than I should have used because then my letters were shifting down at the bottom. So I did end up having to move them, some of them by hand, and rearrange them. It eventually all worked out, just took a little bit of patience, and I got it all settled. But then what I decided to do is take my backing paper and go back over it. I didn't want to use my little tool over top of it directly because I was afraid I might catch some of the vinyl and lift it. So I definitely recommend putting something between your project and your little tool when you go in to burnish it again, just to protect it and make sure you don't accidentally lift it up. And there it is. Isn't it sweet? Give me a big thumbs up if you like the project. DIY number 6. So funny thing about this project, I actually had started this at the very beginning of creating my channel, but I lost a lot of the footage because I was having trouble with technology issues when I was first starting out. So I'm recreating a little bit here to show you what I did. I had that candle holder that I showed you first from the Dollar Tree. I have 4 of these candlestick holders that I glued together with E6000. So 2 sets of those, so a total of 4, created 2 little risers, if you will, just like that. Then I also have my burner covers from the Dollar Tree, as well as a pizza pan, also from the Dollar Tree. So what I did was I flipped that candle holder upside down. I used a whole bunch of E6000. I secured my pizza pan with the E6000, then used more E6000 to secure the double candlestick holder here. Then on top of that, I used the larger of the larger of the burner covers, some more E6000 with another double candlestick, and I'm getting really close to the camera here, and then the smaller of the burner covers. Hopefully this makes sense. So here it is when it was put together. I had already painted part of it, and then when I realized I had lost a lot of my footage, I had abandoned it until this past winter when I went ahead and completed it. So I went over it with all of my Rust-Oleum white linen paint, and then I also distressed it a little bit with antique wax. And here it is all finished and decorated. So here we are with the final reveal.
Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed today's projects, and if you did, please give me a big thumbs up because it really does help support my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, I hope you'll do that, and make sure you hit that bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And remember to go ahead and click through to the playlist so you can watch all of the fantastic inspiration that everyone has shared for the minis challenge today. So until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Stay safe. Bye.